This episode of the Lunch with Chris show is brought to you by my upcoming book, 30 Days to Limitless. You can find out more about it at limitless30.com.
This podcast is certified fresh. Freshmediaworks.com.
Welcome to the Lunch with Chris show, where your host, Chris Daly, talks with movers and shakers from all walks of life to get their opinions on important questions. Each season there is a new question and new guests. This short, impactful show skips all the fluff and just brings you insightful answers from great guests. And now, doing his part to change the world in a positive way, your host, Chris Daly.
All right, on today's show, it is my privilege to introduce you to John Lee Dumas. His website, EntrepreneurOnFire, is a shining example of the new economy, the infopreneur. And one of the cool things on their site is that they post exactly how much money they make and in what ways. We're talking last month, nearly $300,000 in a single month. So perk up, pay attention, because this guy understands hustle. He understands busting it, working hard now so that you can relax later. Join me in welcoming John Lee Dumas. All right, I want to welcome the original Entrepreneur on Fire, John Lee Dumas, to the show. John, how are you doing?
Chris D., I'm in the house. I'm prepared to ignite.
Nice. I love it. And that's one of the things I love about your podcast is it's passionate. I mean, it is all about let's go, let's go, let's go. In the podcasting scene, you kind of came on late. I say late because I'm one of the original podcasters.
Oh, yeah.
Way back
OG.
in the day. Yeah, exactly. OP. And but you came on literally on fire and grew this thing so quickly. So talk a little bit about what it is you are doing at Entrepreneur on Fire.
Yeah, I would definitely consider Entrepreneur on Fire late in the game. I mean, 2004 was when podcasting was starting to kick off, and it was a full 8 years later before I launched Entrepreneur on Fire. It was more towards the beginning of the second renaissance, so to speak, of podcasting, but it still makes me definitely of the newer generation. And what we do at Entrepreneur on Fire that kind of set us apart is it's a 7-day-a-week show, 365 per year, where I interview inspiring and successful entrepreneurs. We talk about their journey. We really get into their mind at the beginning where, we talk about their daily habits, about habits they wish they had, about their biggest strengths and weaknesses. And then we talk about their worst entrepreneurial moments. Like, I go right there. Like, I want them to share the story of their absolute worst entrepreneurial moment to show the listeners that, you know what? Even these successful entrepreneurs had some dismal, devastating, horrendous moments in their lives. And then we talk about lessons learned. Then we get into the aha moments that could have potentially spurned their current success and how they bridge that gap between an idea and a success. And then we end with the lightning round, which is just 6 questions, extracting some great gems from them there and ending with a bang. So it's a show that has now celebrated its 900th episode, was awarded Best of iTunes, and generates over 1 million listens per month.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, let's jump right into the question of the season, which is a teenager walks up to you and says, John, I'm about to embark on my career, my life, my next stage. Give me some advice. What do you tell that person?
I say, oh my God, I wish I was you, because if I was a teenager with this mindset, I can only imagine where I'd be in life right now. I started my journey at 32 years old. I was in the Army. I was in corporate finance, blah, blah, blah. I would hug this teenager and say, you're amazing. I'm so glad you're thinking in this capacity. And then I would ask them definitely, like, what direction were they thinking about going? And for me, if they're not looking to go one of the routes of like a lawyer, doctor, anything in those like fields where you need to go to school, I'd be like, really second guess going to college and university just to go. Because you won't learn anything that's going to help you in the future unless you're really that specialized. And I don't say that as a knock against our higher education. I say that as the biggest hurdle for entrepreneurs and the biggest Achilles heel and kryptonite is debt. So stay away from debts like no other. And that's why I was able to launch Entrepreneur on Fire. I had zero debt and I had some savings. So I was able to launch a 7-figure business because of that. So that kryptonite to entrepreneurs is debt. And if you can stay away from debt, you are so much better off. And if you don't know for sure you want to be in those specialty fields, then stay away from accruing debt in those areas. And so I would look this teenager in the eye and I would say, find that person, that authority figure, that just rock star that you look up to in your industry, that is in your passion, in the niche that you want to be in, and just say, you know what? I want to be where that person is. And then you directly reach out to that person. And Chris, fortune favors the bold all the time. Reach out to that person directly. Find a way to get a hold of him or her and share just that. You are somebody that I admire. I want to be in the same place that you are, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I want to invest in myself financially. I want to invest my time, my energy, my bandwidth to add value to your life, because it has to be a value exchange. It can't just be a one-sided relationship. And propose it in this very passionate, honest, and forthright manner. And guess what? You're probably going to get a no. And that's okay. I know that I say no to people all the time that ask me to mentor them for podcasting because I don't mentor anymore. But guess what? I do say, sorry, Chris, like I'm just not doing one-on-one mentoring anymore, but I admire your tenacity and I admire your passion. And guess what? I have an amazing mentor recommendation for you. Somebody that I personally mentored that knows everything that I know about podcasting and that is actually taking on mentees right now. So why don't you I'll do an email intro for you. You can set up a 15-minute Get Acquainted chat. And if you're the right fit, that's going to be your mentor. And that person will be so well off by getting that introduction. Whereas if they had never reached out to me because they were scared that I was going to say no, which I did, then they never would have gotten this great, phenomenal mentor that's potentially going to take them off to wherever they want to be. So fortune favors the bold. Reach out to people in your industry that are at where you want to be. Ask for that mentorship. If you get a no and they don't suggest a recommendation, then ask for that recommendation because they already kind of feel bad about saying no. Believe me, they're humans and they're likely going to take that time to make that recommendation and you'll be so well off. Nice. Great, excellent advice. It's funny. All my friends consider me one of the most positive, upbeat people I know. But but when I talk with you, it like jumps to another level. There's something about you. You are on fire, definitely. Chris, thank you. And I kind of want to sum that up by saying, listen, be an apprentice. And this is something that we lost way back in the dark ages, like the ability to be. We didn't always have our choices back then. Like, okay, I'm going to be a blacksmith, and like you need to be an apprentice for 7 years. And it's like, even though you hate being a blacksmith, you have to do it. This day and age, you can choose which industry and niche you want to be an apprentice in and just keep saying those words. I will be an apprentice and then learn. That's invaluable. All right. Well, I don't want to take a lot of your time, but tell me about some of the things you've got going on coming up in 2015. Yeah, 2015 for me is about continuing to just provide free and valuable and consistent content to my audience, Fire Nation. So if you want to find out anything more about what we have going on besides the 7-Day-a-Week podcast, we have a ton of free, valuable content at eofire.com. That's where all the magic happens, eofire.com. And I like to just draw people's specific attention to 2 completely free courses that I launched in 2015 that are really taking off. Freepodcastcourse.com is a completely free 15-day course on how to create, grow, and monetize your podcast. We now have over 9,000 people who have gone through that course and loved it. And the webinar course, which is a free 10-day course on how to create and present a webinar that converts. And that is a 10-day course about just that. And we have over 5,000 people that have gone through that course. So to me, it's all about free in 2015. And I'd love for anybody listening to jump in there and learn more about it.
Definitely, and I will put links to that in the show notes. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with us and wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Chris.
You bet.
Take care, man.
All right, see you.